These challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
We must look at the population control.
Senate advocates eradication of child destitution in Nigeria.
This Senate has to step in.
And Senate urges EFCC to investigate Shell Petroleum Development Company over non-payment of $200 million to the federal government of Nigeria. This is Inside the Senate. I am Hussaina Abina Aboki, welcoming you to the program. In our lineup, we have reports on bills at second reading. One of them is seeking the eradication of child destitution, while another seeks the establishment of a police pension board, amongst others. We also have reports on the appointment of new minority leadership, announcement of ministerial nominees, as well as defections from one party to another. We would complete the program with the report of the Committee on Education, which sat to consider the Secondary Education Board Establishment Bill. Stay tuned for details of these after the break. Don't go away.
The Senate to send a message to the President
To reap opportunities from that.
Raise a matter of urgent public importance.
And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up
for a longer term
development,
arise to second the motion. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. Several bills scaled second reading. Amongst them was an establishment bill titled National Commission on Child Destitution in Nigeria, Establishment Bill 2022, sponsored by Senator Ali Yumagata Kardawa Mako. The report, alongside others, are compiled and presented from our studio.
Provided willing foot soldiers to ethno-religious crisis.
In his submission, Senator Wamoko quoted a UNESCO report indicating that there are about 10.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria as a result of child destitution, out of which 60% are in the north. He spoke on the negative effect of this.
The melody of child destitution in Nigeria has aggravated with the menace of Boko Haram, provided fodder for political violence and militancy, provided willing foot soldiers to ethno-religious crisis, and acted as catalyst to a variety of other social problems.
These attracted comments.
It is very common to find one person having over 30 children, and there is no way he can cater for them because he doesn't have the means of doing that. We must look at the population control. Attempts have been made in the past to really control the population in Nigeria through legislation. If we don't do that, we'll continue to have child destitution.
the two critical contributory factors in child destitution and homelessness has to do with abandonment of parental care, and secondly, abandonment of governmental responsibility. And as I said, parental responsibility is something that the commission, if established, will aggressively undertake enlightenment so that we come to a position where understand that while God allows us to have as many children as we desire, the attendant parental responsibility and care, in fact, the parental care is a mandatory responsibility.
After second reading, the bill was referred to the Committees on Establishment as well as Basic Education to report back in 4 weeks. Next was a bill for an act to regulate in vitro fertilization (IVF), and to establish an IVF authority to make provision in relation to children born of in vitro fertilization processes, sponsored by Senator Barau Jibrin. The bill defined IVF as a human reproductive technology done to resolve problems of infertility.
By passing this bill into law, the country will be taking a lead in helping couples who are not able to have children due to fertility problems conceived through in vitro fertilization and hence a chance of parenthood. This bill is a response to the need for a legal framework for regulation of human reproductive technologies and in particular vitro fertilization in humans.
This technology has brought succor to families, and that is why I support it, and I think the World Health Organization is in support.
The public health facilities that we have, the teaching hospitals and other medical centers do not carry out this procedure. There are hospitals or medical facilities that are privately owned that carry out the procedure. Therefore, if we have this law that regulates it in Nigeria, we are going to break down the cost of the process.
The bill scaled second reading and referred to the Committee on Tertiary Health to report back in 4 weeks.
A bill for an act to establish...
Also presented earlier Tuesday, the 21st of June, was the Police Pension Board Establishment Bill 2022, sponsored by Senator Elisha Abo. He bemoaned placing the police under the contributory pension scheme even when their colleagues in other services like the army are excised from the system and establish their own pensions board. Citing an example of the police pension remuneration under the contributory scheme compared to the military, he disclosed that while a Deputy Superintendent of Police (DSP) on retirement receives a pension of 2.5 million naira, his military counterpart receives 12.8 million naira. And while an Assistant Superintendent of Police (ASP) receives 1.5 million naira, his military counterpart receives 10.3 million naira. The bill attracted varying opinions.
It's okay to ask for an equity in payment between a policeman earning 2.5 million and a soldier earning 12.5 million. The question is, who is bearing the burden of that 12.5 million? And is it sustainable in the long term? The burden that the government is paying simply grows to a point where it can no longer pay. So you have backlogs for several years. You have soldiers lining up in Eagle Square doing demonstrations and so on and so forth. Whereas a situation where you have a contributory pension scheme under the new dispensation that we have seen over the last 10 years is actually clear, transparent, sustainable, and a situation where you even have the choice to move your pension management from one private pension manager to another.
This case of pensions is very discriminatory and is unacceptable. But a situation where the police is discriminated upon, domiciled within PENCOM, and then other services have special pension schemes is not doing the police any good. Our police must understand that we care for them and we care about what happens to them after they leave service.
And so, the bill scaled second reading and was referred to the Committee on Police Affairs to report back in 4 weeks. Also presented for second reading was the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2022, sponsored by Senator Emmanuel Okejef, who gave the objectives as follows.
1. To provide prosecutorial guidelines to improve prosecutorial accountability and transparency in order to guide against the whimsical exercise of prosecutorial discretion in determining cases so as to build public confidence. 2. To establish the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Council to provide proper coordination and monitoring in order to drive criminal justice development policy and programs across the country for effective justice delivery system through collaboration and engagement with the prosecuting agencies to ensure speedy investigation of criminal cases in line with the purpose of the bill.
No debate was taken on the bill. As a result, it scaled second reading and referred to the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to report back in 4 weeks.
Those were bills considered for second reading last week. We will now take a break for the notebook segment. Please don't go away.
The Legislative Chamber is a revered hall used by parliamentarians across the world to enact laws, deliberate on issues and problems of constituents with a view to profiling solutions. It is a stage where legislative deliberations and actions are taken by the representatives of the people to address the yearnings and aspirations of the citizenry. Legislators are protected from prosecution on account of remarks made in the chamber.
Welcome back. Earlier Tuesday, the 21st of June 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari in a letter sought Senate approval for the appointment of the following four ministerial positions: Ekumankama J. Nkama, Ebonyi State; Goodluck N. Obia, Imo State; Umar El Yaqub, Kano State; Ademola A. Adegorie, Ondo State, as well as Odum Udi, Rivers State.
It is my hope that this exercise will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the distinguished members of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please accept, Mr. Senate President, the assurances of my highest regards. Signed, yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
Same day also saw the PDP appointing the following to take up its vacant positions. They are Senator Philip Aduda, Minority Leader; Senator Chukwuka Utazi, Minority Whip. The spate of defection also continued last week with the following announcements that Senator Ezenwa Onyeuchi, Imo East, defected from PDP to Labour Party; Senator Halluru Jika, Bauchi Central, from APC to NNPP; Senator Ahmad Babakaita, Katsina North, from APC to PDP; Senator Francis Alimukena, Edo North, from APC to PDP; Senator Lawal Yahya Gumau, Bauchi South, from APC to NNPP. Meanwhile, Senator George Sakibo last week alleged non-payment to the federal government of $200 million, equivalent to about 83.130 billion naira, being accruals from oil mining lease (OML) by Shell Petroleum Development Company (SPDC) under a joint venture agreement between the company and NNPC. He made the allegation through a motion titled Non-Payment of $200 million Accruals from Shell Petroleum Development Company (SPDC) under the SPDC-NNPC joint venture agreement and illegal and unlawful renewal of oil mining leases by the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR).
The loss of $200 million, which is equivalent to 83 billion naira, is a colossal loss of money that could have been of great value to the economy of the nation. Illegal action by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to DPRO as regards the SPDC NNPC joint venture may not be only non-compliant grants a detail of other joint ventures agreement with Chevron Nigeria Limited, any joint venture, Exxon Mobil Upstream joint venture, Total E&P Nigeria Limited joint venture need to be ascertained through a thorough investigation to verify compliance with the provision of the extant law.
This is one very important motion that we should look at, judging by your effort and the effort of this Senate to try as much as possible to harness what belongs to us from this oil and gas sector.
This Senate has to step in, in order to ensure that those people who cornered the resources, if at all they are cornered, or who fail to get to the nation what is due to the nation, are brought to book.
One of the resolutions adopted is to urge EFCC to investigate the matter with a view to having the amount refunded to the federal government. A security-related motion was also considered on Tuesday last week. It was titled, Worsening Insecurity in Kainji Lake National Park and its Threat to Communities in Kayama, Baruten and Borgu local government areas of Kwara and Niger states. It was sponsored by Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar.
In this year, 2022 alone, Several cases of kidnapping were reported in villages like Nanu, Nuku, Woro, and so on, with several people reported dead. Others who returned were released after payment of millions of naira as ransom.
The ISWAP, which is spreading across the West African coast, is actually also partly behind what we are reporting here, because of the international boundary we have with Benin Republic. And that is why it's important that this particular motion be looked into very critically.
Amongst the resolutions adopted were to urge the military authorities to carry out a comprehensive onslaught on the criminals within the Kainji Lake National Park and other areas, and urge NEMA to provide relief materials to the victims. In the committee room, Senate President Ahmad Lawan says the secondary education is a formative stage in the educational process, requiring appropriate mechanism for improved functionality. Let's take the report as compiled and presented from our studio.
The focus of the National Secondary Education Commission.
Senator Ahmad Lawan stated this at the opening of a public hearing organized by the Senate Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary on the National Secondary Education Commission Act 2014, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2022.
This is why the bill seeks to enhance its administrative scopes, faced with new realities on the increasing need for education and the importance of improving the standards. The bill therefore speaks to the tendency of the legislature as one source of policy initiative in the nation's strive for development.
The committee chairman spoke on the importance of a secondary education commission.
We are all aware of the regulatory functions and enormous but overwhelming financial interventions of WIBEC to the primary and junior secondary education, 9 years level, NUJ, NBTE, NCCE to the tertiary institution, leaving out the secondary education, that's 3 years level. This commission, when well instituted, would equally resolve the unpleasant reactions and agitations from various stakeholders in the education sector, and indeed the well-meaning Nigerians on the need to resuscitate the National Secondary Education Commission Act to a well-funded, formidable, and functional regulatory and intervention body to bridge the existing gap.
This paved the way for submissions by stakeholders.
The absence of agency for senior secondary education has been noted to be the reason for the persistent gap and challenges in the senior secondary education sector in Nigeria. The repeal of the Principal Act will help in addressing certain realities in the senior secondary education sector.
The bill is being repealed simply because of certain reasons. One, the former bill talked about senior secondary education, but the current, what we are trying to amend or repeal, is now Senior Secondary Education Commission.
This is a bill that is coming at the right time, and we wholly support the idea of enacting this bill to make sure that this level of education in Nigeria, which has remained hitherto like an orphan, is actually taken care of.
Some anomalies were, however, observed in the proposed law.
The bill did not state the functions of the board, except that it provides for the education board shall be established and maintain separate accounts where monies shall be credited and disbursed from. And we recommend that the bill should provide in details the functions of the board as it was done in the old law.
We believe that the repeal of the National Secondary Education Commission Bill 2004, Act 2004, and the enactment of the National Senior Secondary Education Commission is a welcome development and one that will revitalize and reposition secondary education in Nigeria. So we therefore fully support and encourage the National Assembly to pass the bill as proposed.
Section 9(1) of the bill provides that the Commission shall develop and disseminate curricula and instructional materials for senior education in Nigeria in collaboration with other relevant agencies. And we are in the view that There is this mandate given to NERDC, and there should not be duplication of that.
The Commission should create private school department to oversee the activities of private school owners in Nigeria. A task force should be inaugurated and to be given special training on how to supervise the activities of senior secondary school.
In A Part 2, that is the establishment and functions of the National Senior Secondary Education Commission and its governing board, ANCOPS is conspicuously absent on the board. And we feel our presence will add a lot of value to the commission.
The Institute wish to humbly recommend that the training and retraining of teachers and non-teaching staff by the Senior Secondary Education Commission and boards in states, FCT, be mandated by law or at least by policy operational guidelines to be executed through federal government institutions with the mandate of teacher training and retraining for uniformity, efficiency, and effectiveness, as well as avoidance of quirks in the teacher, school administrators, training and retraining.
One of the committee members drew attention to an important matter not considered at the hearing.
I thought that we could also think about free senior secondary education. At this level, we should consider this as part of the bill. If it is not too late, we should think about it.
After several other contributions, the committee promised to compile a report of the hearing for presentation to Senate plenary, even as the hearing ended with the chairman's word of advice to the Minister of Education over his absence.
The minister could not come, the permanent secretary is not there. Even last time we experienced the same thing. If the minister cannot come, let him send even the permanent secretary.
Now to our profile segment. Stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Marutanko Al-Makpura represents Nasarawa North Senatorial District under APC. He attended Dunama Primary School, Lafia, for his first school living certificate in 1966, as well as Kefi Teachers College for his grade 2 teacher's certificate in 1971. He also attended College of Education, Uyo, for his National Certificate of Education in 1975 and ABU Zaria for a Bachelor of Education degree in 1978. Senator Al-Makpura worked briefly as an assistant producer at the Broadcasting Corporation of Northern Nigeria, BCNN, before going into business, industry and property development, among others. He joined politics in 1988 and was a member of the Constituent Assembly, among other positions. He was governor of Nasarawa State, serving 2 terms, first from 2011 to 2015 and from 2015 to 2019. He also contested to the Senate in the 2019 general elections and won, serving till date. In the Senate, he is chairman, Senate Committee on Solid Minerals Development, and a member of several other committees. His legislative interests include solid mineral development, agriculture, and industrialization.
With this, we end this edition of Inside the Senate. Thanks for watching and do join us again for another interesting package of the program. See you then.